Hello there, Ali, and welcome to the Sentence Guide course. My name's Andrew. I'll be reading through your essays and correcting them to offer you some suggestions, some advice and some support in the hope that we can get you scoring highly in your actual IELTS exam. So first of all, thank you for progressing this far into the course. I do hope you're enjoying it and I hope you're learning a lot. The key to producing amazing answers every time is to practice as often as possible and receive regular feedback. The more times someone points out to you your small errors, the more likely you will be to not make them in future. So while I'm reading through, I may occasionally stop and offer you a better way to say something, or I may correct something that's grammatically incorrect. So let's go. Around the world today, more and more people are complaining about the lack of communication between... So already I would say that's a bit long. And I would say, around the world today, more and more people are complaining about the lack of communication between family and friends. That's enough. And then, in my opinion, or personally, lifestyles. So, one, lifestyle is a collocation, so it's hyphenated. And two, we're referring to more than one, because we're talking about a group, not an individual. So, in my opinion, lifestyles or lifestyle. Cool, so we could actually move this to over here. In my opinion, modern lifestyles and technology have created this gap between individuals in society. So you're past perfect there as well. Because we're referring to more than one thing, it's they have created. So multiple things have, and because it's past perfect, created. It has already happened. So in my opinion, modern lifestyles and technology have created this gap between individuals in society. Firstly, lifestyles have changed dramatically in recent years, or we could say the common lifestyle, or the average lifestyle, has changed dramatically in recent years. No need for the. Mainly due to the internet and related technologies. This can all be reduced to related technologies, such as Facebook. Actually, that could just be your topic sentence. We could stop there. And then we could say new platforms or new communication platforms, such as Facebook and WhatsApp, are an obvious example of virtual socialization that depends on the internet. I like virtual socialization. That's good. That's the first time I've ever seen somebody use that phrase. A recent study from Harvard University, always refer in full, a recent study or some research recently conducted shows that people in the United States spend at least 1 hour every day on Facebook alone. Therefore, family members So this one needs to be smoothed out because I'm not quite sure what that means. I'd maybe even use a semicolon here, so end this sentence, and then start a new one here with this. So therefore, family members, there you go, family members may be physically present or even if family members are in physical proximity, they may communicate in the virtual world. Excuse me, but I think we should say something else here about that they are, that maybe even if they are not communicating physically, they may still be doing so in the virtual world. We want to make sure that we're referring to the change that has occurred. So, whereas previously people spoke face to face, now they are communicating more virtually. So this last sentence here, I think, just needs to summarize that a little bit better. So therefore, even if family members appear to communicate less, they may actually be communicating more virtually. Secondly, many people are working So here we want to refer to the demands of modern life. So secondly, no capital here. Secondly, comma, many people are working 2 shifts or are keeping a part-time job as well as their main job. But we don't really need to talk about all of the specifics. The fact that some people are doing double shifts, some people have part-time jobs, we know that. What we can say is that many people lack the time to dedicate to face-to-face communication. And then we could go full stop, delve a little bit further. The modern civilized world, or the financial requirements of the modern civilized world, are far more than those required by the simple life even a couple of decades ago. So what we've got is a general introduction, stresses and strains of modern life. People don't have the time to communicate given the demands from their jobs, and then a bit of detail about that. So the financial requirements of the modern civilized world are far more than that of the simple life even a couple of decades ago. An article in the New York Times stated that 50% of the people in the US have more than one job. Full stop. And then capital T, therefore, some people, we don't want to really give any more examples here. What we've already said, that 50% of people have more than one job. Therefore, this has a significant effect on their social life as well as their relationships. Well, social life and relationships are very, 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 very similar. So I would just say, this sentence, therefore, time spent working has a significant impact on their social life. That's enough. Always be wary of extra words. To conclude, comma, from the above arguments and examples, I totally agree that communication is less between family members in spite of the easy modern communication means we have today. So let's have a see how much of the question you responded to. So you gave your 2 ideas. So has communication reduced between family members? Yes, you think it has. I would put one more thing in your intro as well, just to make it more clear that you agree with the statement, that you do not oppose the statement, that in my opinion, lifestyles and technology, modern lifestyles and technology created this gap between individuals. Yeah, I would say, in my opinion, I agree that modern lifestyles and technology have created this gap between individuals in society. Because in the task and achievement section of the mark scheme, it addresses how specifically and how accurately you responded to the question you were presented with. So you may need to just be a little bit more specific to guarantee that you get there. Now, secondly, in the exam, it will say write at least 250 words for a task 2. And if you don't do that, you will more than likely score a level 5 in task and achievement because you did not respond fully to the question. So always make sure you write at least 250 words, but at the same time, do not write extra words. Everything must be appropriate and relevant. Nothing must be irrelevant. But let's see where you had some potential for expansion. So there's already a little bit should go in there, like I said, to more firmly answer the question. You have a tendency as well to combine your example and therefore sentence. While that's great, because it's grammatically complex, to have 2 sentences joined together with a bookended therefore, it is grammatically complex, but it will really, these should be 2 separate sentences. I want you to talk about the results first, and then what that means afterwards. And that will lengthen these paragraphs slightly. So you've got your topic sentence, a bit more detail, and then your example, and a therefore. Because I can see here, look, that you've just used commas all the way through your paragraphs to separate them. But each paragraph should have about minimum four sentences in it. Introduce, expand, support, therefore. You have stuck to the structure, but we just need to see some more effective punctuation. So here is your second piece for the day. I can see that this one is above the word count, so that's great. And I can also see full stops, which is wonderful. So let's have a go. Around the world today, governments are encouraging and supporting societies. This just needs to be societies. And again then, if you've already said societies, you don't need to say individuals, because society is made up of individuals. This bit is contained within this bit. It is implied. If you imply something, you do not need to say it. Things can be either implicit or explicit, implied or explained. Parents and schools are playing a vital role in this important aspect of children's development, or the development of children. In my opinion, physical and mental activities develop many aspects of the child's skills. So many aspects, there's an S there, and we need to use the plural. So children's skills, or the skills of young people. How many synonyms for children can you think of? So go with those. Firstly, reading has numerous benefits, comma. Actually, because what we're doing here is you're starting your paragraph by saying reading has benefits, but then going on to talk about the benefits of other things. So this then becomes a confused paragraph. We need to make sure that we stick to one idea. So your examples here are saying that video games are good. So don't open the paragraph by saying reading has numerous benefits unless you're going to talk about those benefits. In cinema, for instance, in filmmaking, there's the smoking gun rule. And it's the gun rule means do not introduce a weapon into a scene unless you intend to use it. And it's the same in writing. Don't introduce a subject unless you're going to talk about it. So your topic sentence here could be, if you really want to put this without expanding on it, then you could say, even though or although reading has numerous benefits. Yeah, although reading has numerous benefits, playing on electronic games consoles can develop skills that would be impossible to develop by reading alone. You don't need just and alone, because they both do the same job. They both say it's only reading, just reading, or reading alone. This is largely because when playing on consoles, a child can develop spatial, reflective, and cognitive skills that are impossible to develop by just reading. Full stop. For example, recent studies by Harvard showed that children playing 2 hours a week on consoles, we don't need to give brand names either, and this is not. We don't introduce lists with colons or semicolons. After such as, there is actually no need to include punctuation, such as the Sony PlayStation. But we don't necessarily need the brand names. We just need to know that they are consoles, and then the results. Therefore, the advantages of playing with games consoles are clear, comma, and give children opportunities to progress in areas neglected by reading. Good, I like this, neglected. I don't see that often, that's nice. Generally, sports and physical activities are important for human health, comma, and play, because we are talking about numerous things, so it's not one thing. it's they play. But we could just say, sports and physical activities are important for human health, comma, and play an important role in developing children's physical abilities. See, we've got physical activities and physical abilities close to each other, and they sound very similar. Maybe change that up a bit. Physical abilities and skills. Yeah, I mean, saying skills and abilities together, again, they're both pretty much the same word, so be careful of repetition. While the competition is a vital part of any sport. Competition. No, you don't need the competition. The competition would be referring to a competition that we will be participating in soon. So, are you ready for the competition? Have you prepared for the competition? But competition is an abstract idea. Competition is a vital part of any sport, as it helps the child to develop and improve his or her, again, we're using physical abilities again, we could find some synonyms for this, and builds, I would say, team working abilities or group working abilities. Again, too many words. For instance, schools in Japan are teaching children how individual successes in sport so schools in Japan are teaching children how to be individually successful and reach their goals through sport, comma, as it is the best, I would say to demonstrate. It is the most effective method to demonstrate this to children. And then you need another thus, so you need to sum it up. Thus, as opposed to reading, activities such as sports, such on. Don't forget your therefore sentence at the end of a paragraph. If you leave it as an example, you're missing an opportunity to explain your point to people. So once you get to the end of the example, always go, and what does that mean? So activities other than reading develop tremendous skills, good word, as well as boosting children's creativity and inspiring them. This is difficult to achieve with reading alone. So my main points here are essentially repetition. We need to make sure that we vary it a little bit. We also need to make sure that we don't use too many words, and that we make sure that we expand all of our paragraphs fully. If you expand everything fully and reduce your word count, you will find that it balances out at around about the same as you're already doing. But as it stands now, some of these words are unnecessary, and some valuable words are not here. So these are your first essays. So don't think, these are great for your first essays. They really are. Well done. But on your next set, send us the error list. So make an error list from this video. Correct these essays with that error list. Send the error list, the corrected essays, and your next set of essays. And we'll have those back to you corrected soon. In no time at all, you'll be scoring a 7.5 or above in IELTS. I think that's absolutely achievable for you within the next week. But it's been a pleasure correcting your work. Well done. Get the next set over to us soon, and I'll speak to you again shortly. Bye-bye, Ali.